Welcome in, y'all. Today we're talking about the San Francisco 49ers. This team is one that it's tough to get a full read on this year. You know, they had a rough year last year. Most of that can be attributed to injuries, but even in some games where they had a lot of pieces, they did struggle. So, what exactly is this team going to be? They lost some key pieces in the offseason, didn't necessarily replace them. However, with all that being said, they still have an elite core of players. They have Kyle Shanahan at the helm. If they can avoid injuries, they should still have a pretty solid year. So, beginning with week one, they're in Seattle, division rivalry game right off the bat. And this is a tough spot. I would have liked this later in the season if I'm San Fran. And I'm going to lean Seattle here. First game, you got the 12th man rocking there in Seattle. Sam Darnold, his first game under center for the Hawks, so that could be a negative for Seattle. He's not too used to the system yet, but I do think they're able to split this year, so I'm going to take Seattle in that one. Week two, on the road against one of the worst teams in football. No issue for the Niners. They move to 1-1. They get two back-to-back home games here against the Cardinals, who did beat the Niners last year, but I will take the Niners at home this time, and they move to 2-1, 1-1 in the division now. Week four, they're home against the Jaguars. Jaguars a mixed bag this year. Hard to know what you're going to get from them. They're a team I wouldn't be surprised if they went 3-14 and were maybe the first overall pick. They also wouldn't be a team. Or I wouldn't be surprised if they were a team that went 11-6, won the AFC South, and were in the playoffs. So tough to know what we're going to get from Jacksonville, but one way or another at home for the 49ers here, I do lean them in that one. Then a quick turnaround, a short week here heading to Los Angeles, just up down the road from San Fran. Thursday night football game in LA. Not too much of a home game for the Rams there, as the Niners fans do tend to have their way in that stadium. But I do still lean the Rams here. Rams were able to sweep the Niners last year, and while I'm not sure they're going to sweep them this year, I do think they at least get the home win. Then week six, the Niners traveled to Tampa Bay, a game that was close between these two last year. That was a very fun game. I expect more of the same, but I do give the edge to Tampa Bay this time. I think the Bucs are going to be pretty good this year, and I think the Niners fall to 3-3. But not to worry. Home game against the Falcons. This is currently a Sunday night football game. I think you could see a blowout here. I think the Niners handle business and move to 4-3. Then they're on the road in Houston. That's a tough one. That Houston defense is going to be pretty darn good. And I think the Texans are able to edge out the Niners, and it's 4-4 for the Niners now. Tough couple games coming up. Not tough, after Week 9. Week 9, of course, on the road in New York. This is one I think it's one of those look out for an upset spot. The Giants' record is going to be pretty rough here just because of how brutal their schedule is to start the year, but they're not a bad team, and when you go on the road anywhere, you got to be careful. So I do think the Giants could win this one, but I do trust the Niners to take care of business on the road. And then the Niners come home against the Rams, and I do not have the Rams sweeping them this year. I think the Niners are able to get a win and move to 6-4, so a couple games above 500 now. And you head to the desert, you head to Arizona here, Cardinals. I think the Cardinals are going to be solid this year if they stay healthy and can put it together. And I think they're going to take at least one from the Niners, and the Niners fall to 6-5. And at this point, it has to be talked about. At this point in the season, are the Niners still healthy? I don't know. I mean, this is a team that is beyond injury prone. So that's something you absolutely have to consider with this team. But, we'll assume they're fairly healthy at this point. 6-5. Home Monday night football game against the Panthers. Should be a much improved Panthers team, but I don't think I trust them to go into Santa Clara and steal a game in primetime there. So 7-5 for the Niners. And then they are on the road against the Browns and whoever they will be starting at quarterback by that point. I don't think it matters. Niners roll into their bye week at 8-5. So feeling pretty good. It's a very, very easy schedule. I needed to stop for a minute and say that. This is one of the easiest schedules I've seen in a long time. And I know that's always said before the year, and it'll turn out that like 3 of these teams on here you think are bad end up being really good this year and tough opponents. So that happens. The easiest schedules at the start don't always end up being the easiest, but man, this it's a pretty easy schedule. Outside of their division, their toughest games are probably Tampa Bay and Houston. Um, and even them, it's not like, you know, there's the teams you're avoiding here. You're avoiding Philly, Detroit, Buffalo, Kansas City, Cincinnati, Green Bay. They're avoiding so many teams. I know Baltimore. So yeah, very lucky on that part. Week 15, home against the Titans, no issue there against the number 1 overall pick. Titans, I think Cam Ward will do well this season, but the Titans are pretty bad. So lost there, 9-5 for the Niners. This one's a sneaky one. Monday Night Football in Indianapolis. I think the Colts could still be playing for something at this point. I think they sneak out an upset win at home against the Niners. Niners fall to 9-6. And then I'm sorry, I had to do it again. Home for what I think right now is a Sunday Night Football game. I think the Bears get their upset win of the season, and the Niners fall to 9-7. Not to worry, though. They are home Week 18. They take care of business against the Seahawks. So 10-7 final record prediction for the Niners. If you're a Niners fan and if you were to argue you think they're going 14-3, I honestly can't say I could strongly be against you there just because this schedule is so easy. I just have my doubts with their ability to stay healthy, and B, just the roster did get worse. Let's be honest with ourselves. Even when it was healthy last year, they never really looked dominant. So I don't know. I don't know what type of Niners team we're going to see this year. So we'll see. I think 10-7 is more the safe route here. I can't, even though, they've had the track record to be very good and Kyle Shanahan's very good, it's hard to pick them to do too much better considering how rough of a year they had last year. So 10-7 final prediction for the Niners. That should be good enough to get you into the playoffs. Probably wouldn't win the division, but you never know. This 10-7 did win the NFC West last season, so definitely have to take that into account. But yeah, so that is my final prediction for the Niners, and I think I'll get a good feel here. This is a team, there's some teams we have a good feel on, and it's just, all right, which games, which close games are going to go which way. But then there's teams like the Niners and, maybe like the Jags I mentioned earlier, and there's teams that until you see the first couple weeks of the season, they're tough to get a full read on is, what happened in the offseason and what's this team really going to look like this year. And I think the Niners are one of those. So they come out hot, say they dominate Seattle. They do start 4-0. They look good against the Rams. I think this team could be on track to win those 13, 14 games. But I do think if they lose to Seattle and they struggle in there, I think it's a bad sign for this team. So we will see. Excited for the season coming up.